You know those online neighborhood forums? They're kind of like our modern-day town squares, right? Our digital front porches. But just like the old town squares, they're also places where our private crises can suddenly become very, very public dramas. So today, we're going to dig into what happens when a cry for help goes out into that digital neighborhood and what it shows us about the two very different sides of our communities. All right, let's jump right in with a real-life emergency that played out comment by comment in one of these groups. It all kicked off with a really simple but kinda unsettling discovery. So imagine this. A woman, Danielle, just goes to get her mail, and there it is. A cat, left abandoned in a cage right in her driveway. She has absolutely no idea where it came from or who would just leave it there. So she does what a lot of us would probably do in that moment. She turns to her digital neighbors for help. She's understandably panicked, right? She posts that she can't take care of it and that she really needs some help. And this one simple, worried question, well, it sets off this massive chain reaction. And it's in those replies that we start to see the two completely different directions these conversations can go.
So, first up, you see the absolute best of us online. I mean, this is the real power of a connected community, right? You've got neighbors just springing into action, ready to offer real, immediate help.
And believe me, this isn't just a one-off thing. Just look at this other post from someone facing food insecurity. I mean, within hours, you see people offering to send Instacart orders, dropping off eggs, sharing links to shelters. These forums can be a genuine lifeline. It's just incredible generosity on display. So, back to Danielle and the cat in the cage. That first wave of replies, it was just this flood of practical, really urgent advice. You had people debating, should she call the police? No, call animal control. Others are chiming in, hey, check for a microchip at a 24-hour clinic. Or maybe it's a rescue trap. It was like this instant, collaborative, problem-solving session happening right there in the comments. And this is a perfect example of how crucial that kind of immediate help can be. Here's another really frantic post about a dog that ate poison. A neighbor jumps in with the ASPCA poison control number, explains how urgent chemical burns are, and even offers to help find a 24-hour vet. We're talking about time-sensitive, literally life-saving information, shared in a split second. But almost as fast as the helpers show up, another group logs on. Let's call them the digital jury. And this is where things get, well, pretty frustrating. It's like the distance of the screen makes it so much easier for people to just skip past empathy and go straight to judgment. See, the helpers are trying to solve the problem. The jury, they're there to decide who's to blame. So where there's a crisis, does criticism always have to follow? Let's watch how fast the whole tone of this conversation can change. Because that same exact plea for help that brought out all this compassion, well, for others, it just sparked condemnation. Right away, Danielle's very real distress just gets dismissed. She gets called a drama queen. I mean, seriously? Her panic is totally minimized. Suddenly, the conversation isn't about the poor animal in the cage anymore. It's about criticizing her reaction to it. And what's really fascinating here is watching how the judgment just escalates in other situations. You remember that story about the poisoned dog? The response there gets even harsher. Because the owner waited a couple of days to get help, the comments go from, oh, I'm concerned, to full-on accusations of criminal negligence.
So the same event just splits the community right down the middle into these two totally different camps. You've got the empathetic side saying things like, thank you for hanging in there for this poor baby, and I'm so sorry this happened. And then you have the pure judgment side, panic over a cat, friffs, or this is animal abuse. It's comfort versus condemnation, literally playing out in real time in the comments.
You know, what's really interesting is that this whole pattern of passing judgment, it's not just for pet owners. Nope. It follows the exact same script when the person asking for help is facing human problems, like money troubles or housing issues. Okay, just look at these two threads side by side. On the left, you've got a dog owner getting grilled about vet bills. On the right, someone staying in a motel is being interrogated about how they're paying for their room. The crisis is totally different, but the questions? They're identical. For pet owners, the judgment almost always circles back to money. Suddenly, your ability to cough up $1,000 for an unexpected vet bill becomes this test for whether you even deserve to have a pet in the first place. And it's the same thing for a person who's homeless. A simple plea for resources isn't met with help. It's met with suspicion, demands for proof. How are you paying for that hotel? Why can't you provide proof of residence? So here's the really crucial part. In both of these cases, the conversation just gets totally derailed. It's like our brains shift away from the immediate problem, the sick pet, the person without a home, and instead we launch a moral investigation into the person asking for help. Maybe it's a defense mechanism, a way to put some distance between us and the crisis, to tell ourselves we wouldn't make those mistakes. But what it does is it changes the question from how can we help to the much, much less helpful question of why are you even in this situation?
And all of this, it really gets to the core dilemma of our online communities. They give us this amazing connection and support, but they also give a huge microphone to our most judgmental instincts.
So yeah, our digital town squares, they're a total double-edged sword. On one side, they are these incredible tools for mobilizing kindness and getting critical information out there fast. But the other side, it's just as powerful an arena for snap judgments and public shaming.
When it comes down to it, these platforms are really just a mirror. They don't invent these human impulses, they just crank up the volume on them. They reflect the very best of us, that instinct to help and connect, and, well, the very worst of us, our tendency to judge from behind a screen. Ultimately, the kind of digital neighborhood we live in, it isn't decided by some algorithm. It's built from the thousands of little choices we all make. So the real question is for you. The next time a crisis pops up in your feed, who are you going to be? The helper or the judge?